As an introduction, could you please describe your farm business?
Agriberry, we started it in 2008 as an opportunity to grow raspberries and blackberries so that I could establish a first worker training program. And both of those are biennial fruit crops, so that someone without experience, like someone 14 to 22 years old, that was just in their first job in farming, would be able to have success without damaging a tender or vulnerable fruit crop. And we started it with a CSA to help with the funding to it, and also for the sustainability for it.
Because our aim is to provide information to new farmers, we'd like to know more about your beginning as a farmer. For instance, like, how did you develop your farm?
Sure. Yeah. That's a great question. I did not grow up on a farm, and I look at that actually as an asset, because I never had any negative influences about all the work that was involved. Sometimes that can be a hindrance, I think, to continuing farming. So I had a lot of optimism going into farming. But I did have a strong science background, and I did have a good background in research with Cornell and the University of Maryland.
Yes.
So that helped me look at the fruit in a better way, I think, with that.
Awesome. Did you use any business planning tools?
Yes, when I started Agriberry in 2008, actually I worked in Richmond with New Vision, New Ventures, which was a micro business development nonprofit for women-owned business.
Awesome. Well, how did you get to know about that, though? I mean, did it just fall in your lap, or?
Yeah, we had bought a house in Hanover County for our 3 children to go to the school system, and I was really curious and motivated, thinking, how could I, as a woman, start a farm? Even though I had experience managing another farm, I wanted to start one that I could own as well, and I felt the resources were available. So I looked at Small Business Administration and SCORE, and that led me to New Visions, New Ventures.
Wow. I was curious, do you use enterprise budgets?
Enterprise budgets, as are you meaning like the standard ones for raspberries and blackberries for the industry?
Sure.
I did use those as a reference to make sure I wasn't forgetting some element.
What would have been useful to you as a new farmer to best plan for your farm?
The one that really comes to mind right now, and it's more of a challenge for me, are the ins and outs. If you even have a worker, we have one worker that sprained his ankle. And we've had, somebody else that required a few stitches. Was loading a truck and just cut his hand. It was a freak accident. So, but what do you do with workman's comp to minimize your workman's comp exposure? And also, safety is always first, but, life and action happens. So, it's a funny thing, but we found out later, don't go to an emergency room unless it's life or death, because it's much more costly in your workman's comp profile than to go to a patient
first. That costs the farm, and then
it costs the workman's comp premium to go up as well.
That's interesting.
So that's not
something we haven't even talked about.
No, but accidents happen, and they're sort of rare, but they're one of those things that you want to know. And I think how to promote yourself for the press. Everybody talks about social media, but social media, you have to pay Facebook to promote your
business
posts.
The posts, okay.
And so some of those things are a little challenging. But what about good old-fashioned television, local
newspaper,
TV, newspapers, and those things?
Exactly.
And how to do a blog. That sounds.
And find the time to do the blog.
Exactly. And the follow through.